Holiday World is set to make a big splash in 2027 with the debut of Cannonball. Hello everyone, alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig. This is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics hit the road today. We are in Evansville, Indiana, in a hotel room, as you can probably tell. But Tower Topics drops 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So hit that subscribe button or follow us on all your favorite podcast apps.
So Cannonball, it's going to be the new marquee attraction that will open next year in the 4th of July section at Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Just announced. It's a combination roller coaster, water coaster, all in one. I'm very excited about this. The ride announced, and then we got to do a construction tour.
We did.
It looks impressive.
It does. It looks really impressive. A lot of work's been done on it. You know, I was kind of making the joke that they were going to make their announcement. They announced it at 8:45 this morning as of this recording, Central Time. And I was making the joke where they were going to make their announcement and then we were going to go see their pile of dirt.
You know, you're not that far off because I was here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And from, as you got toward the Thanksgiving area, you could kind of see a little bit off to the side of the fence into where the construction site is. And it was just a pile of dirt. There was, a couple of bulldozers and that. So I didn't know that it was going to look like it did today. I mean, it is really taking shape. And to be able to walk around it, it's going to be a little over 1,000 feet long. You're going to go up 90 feet, and then you go through the coaster part, and then you drop down 70 feet into the splashdown, which becomes the water coaster part of it. But I really like, there's a pretty cool backstory, with it. It fits perfectly into that 4th of July area at Holiday World. The park does a lot of fun, quirky type things. This is right there. If you had a chance to follow the teasers that they did, and I hope you did because I thought they did a spectacular job. To me, it's like the best teaser campaign that I've seen, the most fun.
And probably the most fun announcement too.
Yeah, the most fun announcement. Mr.
Craig.
Mr. Craig, yes. We'll get to Mr. Craig in a little bit, but the ride, very excited about it, and it's going to fit perfectly into that spot. It's going to be a great visual when it opens. And it's something that, what I like about it is, we talk about family attractions and things, but 42-inch is the minimum height if you are accompanied by, the adults and that. But if you're riding by yourself or whatever, you got to be at least 48 inches. So it's got kind of a broad appeal. I think that's important. This is a ride that, you might ask, well, why didn't they do this or why didn't they do that? The ride is $22 million. You can do a lot of things with $22 million.
Yeah, sure can.
So why did they pick this ride? And in talking, with the Holiday World officials, as they said, we don't know what a lot of other parks, might do or need or whatever. We know what we need. We know what fits Holiday World. And I think it fits, perfect in terms of what, they've been putting in recent years. It's going to really complement the rides lineup there.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people, it seemed like right after the announcement, had the kind of had the thought of like, how could this be the most expensive investment? But the water coasters are very expensive. Mock Rides is not a cheap manufacturer. It's one of the top quality ones. And everything costs more, especially steel, so.
It does. And, again, like I said, $22 million, their single largest investment ever. So it costs more than the Voyage did, costs more than Thunderbird, costs more than Good Gravy. So, it's a big time investment, and the timing was right for them to do this. Now, if you haven't been to Holiday World, it's, within 3 hours of where Kings Island is located. All of our listeners, they know where Kings Island is. It's not that far of a drive. They're very close to Nashville. They're actually closer to Nashville than Dollywood is.
Yeah.
So it's a place that if you have not been there, I certainly can't recommend enough that you do that. It's a top value park. You get free parking. You get free soft drinks, unlimited. Comes with ice. You get
featuring ice. Yeah.
Featuring ice, yes, and you get like free sunscreen. Among the other amenities, they've got the water park is included with park admission. The water park is, right up there, top tier, in the industry. 3 great water coasters. For Holiday World, this is roller coaster number 7. So when you look at the teaser and some of the things they worked into it with Mr. Craig going for the Cannonball Championship for the 7th straight year, that was tied into this is their 7th roller coaster. So just a lot of really fun, unique things that they did, and each of the boats, the trains, the cars that you're going to be in, they're going to be different.
Mm. Yeah, each correlating to a different teaser that a lot of you guys got. So we have watermelon, we got the Holiday World colors.
Yeah, I'll go through and pull up what that is because I think that's an important part. Yes, you got strawberry, watermelon, donut, stars and stripes, Holiday World rainbow, which is the red, yellow, and blue, patriotic popsicle, and I think your media credential was the popsicle, wasn't it?
Mine, yeah, the bomb pop.
Bomb pop, and mine was the red and white stripes. But the boats, they're going to float out of the station. You're going to go past Boulder Canyon, the barbecue cookout, and climb the 90-foot hill. You're going to circle around in that before you plunge down 75 feet. Riders will experience a thrilling roller coaster with 5 total drops, so a lot of thrill here with this. Filled with twists and turns before finally splashing down in the Boulder Canyon Community Pool. Guests are encouraged to shout "Cannonball" as they fly through that final splashdown before floating past that the giant inflatable swan sculptures named Ron the Swan and Ron Swan's Son, before returning to the station. And that reminds me of some of the merchandise that we saw today for Cannonball. It was already out in the shops, and a lot of really cool designs. I know there's a couple that we both have our eyes on that we want to get, but that was one of the ones too with the swans. That they have that one as well. So very exciting. So, we really appreciate the opportunity to be able to come out and do the construction tour. Like I said, when I was there 3 weeks ago, it wasn't even close, to what it looked like today. I mean, it really, really is taking shape. And one of the questions that I know we're going to get in the comments, being a water ride, is this something that's going to only be open like Memorial Day, Labor Day? No, this is going to open with the park. When they do, they usually open the first weekend in May, and it'll go all the way through the fall season. As long as it's 41 degrees out, this ride can operate.
Yeah. So if they ever had a Christmas event, it may not open for that. But 41 degrees, that's the calling point. But yeah, so definitely an exciting announcement. It looks like I want to point out too that one of the features on it is particularly labeled as an airtime hill. So for those of you who are worried about like the coaster element of it, if you think it might not have too much of a thrill factor, it seems like that is designed into it. So that's very cool.
What I really like about this, Ryan, there's a number of things, but you've got that broad appeal because of the height requirement. If somebody's 42 inches and the parents are with them, they can do this. So nobody has to like sit out. That's important. I think, as you get older and if you have kids and that, you kind of get the big picture. It's great when you're single and you're a coaster enthusiast and you're traveling around and you want the biggest, baddest and everything that you can do. But then as you get older and you have kids and that, you look at it through a different lens and you want things that you can all do together. So this is something that it appeals to me because it's something that my family, we can all do together with this. But the other things about it that is really appealing is that it's going to be fun. It's going to be thrilling, and it's going to be repeatable. It's going to be something that you're going to have so much fun on this that you're going to want to get right back in line and do it again. And that's what you want, and I think that's why this is going to be a perfect fit for Holiday World. It fits in with all those the family attractions that they've been adding in recent years, like Good Gravy. Even the coasters they have, it's still they're some of the best wooden coasters out there, but they appeal to a lot of a broad demographic.
They do. Yeah, they do. Now I would say that I would definitely make the argument that something like the Voyage is a little
intense,
little closer to Top Thrill 2 than it is Good Gravy.
Yeah, but it's intense, but it's still something that a lot of guests can do. It's not something that you have to be this tall.
You don't
to
have
ride.
to be 6 feet tall to ride.
You don't have to be this tall to ride. But again, if you haven't been here, it's like 3 hours from Kings Island. Great collection of wooden coasters. You got the Voyage, which in my opinion is the GOAT of wooden roller coasters. Best one out there. Raven was their first wooden coaster here. That ride, a little over 31 years old now. It had some track work over the winter. It's running phenomenal. Not the longest ride, not the tallest ride, but if you're looking for something that is relentless from the time that it leaves, the lift hill until you get back on the station, and it's just nonstop action, that's the Raven. And then you have the Legend, another one that is relentless. That's out there. It's a little bit, it's a longer ride, not as long as the Voyage, but longer than the Raven. You have what I think is the best wing coaster out there too here with Thunderbird.
Yeah,
phenomenal ride there.
One of the best steel coasters, not just wing coaster.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
easy to be the best wing coaster.
But it's one of the best steel coasters. You're right, out there. So it certainly ranks near the top of my list. And then if you're a water park fan, 3 of the best water coasters in the world, and that's something that we spent today in the hard park. Tomorrow we're going to spend time when we go back. We're going to explore the water coasters. I've done all of them before. You have not done.
I've not done Cheetah Chase, and I tried to get that, shall we say, credit last time I did the water park, and it had closed for the day by the time we made it over there because we got there for like the last hour or two.
The other thing you're going to like about the water park, Ryan, is if you're a foodie fan, they've got a number of restaurants. It's not just like 1 or 2 places you can go get some food. I mean, there's a number of food places in Splash and Safari. Barbecue, if you're somebody that likes brisket, pulled pork, great brisket there in the water park. They also have things like the fish and chips and chicken tenders, other things. So some really good food out in the water park. And then in the main park, right across, or near Good Gravy in the Thanksgiving area, one of my favorite dining locations in the whole industry. You can get like a genuine Thanksgiving type of meal every day that you go to Holiday World. We're talking, the turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and cheese, the biscuit and stuff. So, the works. So just another top tier park, when you're looking at what they have to offer here, on the food and beverage side.
Yeah, definitely. So we would be remiss if we didn't mention that their Platinum Passes are currently on sale.
For next year, yes.
For 2027.
Yeah, I think right now if you buy it, you save $80.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come with admission the rest of the season, but you get a heck of a deal.
And you get 1 day ticket this season.
Yes. And I like the way they do that you don't get the whole, that way people aren't hanging around and getting like 2 seasons for the price of 1 and stuff.
Yeah.
But you save $80 right now on the Platinum Pass, and there's a lot of value with the Platinum Pass. One of the things they did this year was they added early entry into Splash and Safari. That has been a great benefit for the Platinum Pass holders down there. I had a chance a couple weeks ago when I was here to talk to a number of the Platinum Pass holders right before Splash and Safari opened, and they were all, just really talking about the value of being able to get in 30 minutes before everyone else. Not just get in, but you can explore the whole water park. And if you would think, I've got toddlers, not a lot to do. If you're somebody goes to Soak City, there's not a lot to do for kids that age. Not here. There is a ton of stuff to do for the somebody that that might be like 15 months to 2 years, 3 years old. A lot of different water slides and different pools and splash pads and that. So just really a great time for families if you want to come out to Holiday World and Splash and Safari.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts on Cannonball, which is spelled with an exclamation point, so it's going to be good and exciting. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of it. It's when we saw the layout and stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of thought like the hardcore enthusiasts would be like, this is lame, this is stupid. They should have gotten a B&M. But it seemed like it was more well received than I thought it was going to be.
It was very well received. A lot of positive comments about it. Just scrolling through social media, looking at the parks, social media posts. You're always going to get somebody that said it should have been an RMC, should have been a Giga, should have been this, should have been that. And again, you have to understand, who and what your park is and make decisions based on that. So, they know what they need. They know what the guest here wants, the majority. And, this Cannonball is going to be, I think it's going to be a great addition. And, we touched briefly on the merchandise, and we had a chance to look at the different shirts and some really cool designs. And then as we're looking at the Cannonball merchandise, we start to, see other things that we want. And we're like, oh, that Void shirt looks really, really cool. And look at the Legend shirt.
Yeah, the best magnets in the industry.
Look at the magnets. Great collection of magnets and just all kinds of stuff. So they really do it right here. They do it well. And I am a platinum season pass holder to Holiday World, and one of the best investments that I've made over the last 3 years.
Very cool. All right, drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts on it. And would something like this fit in at Kings Island? Because they don't have a water coaster. Now, okay, people have made the valid point. They do have 3 water rides. When we were talking about the Carowinds thing. But they don't have anything like this, particularly.
Oh,
and
no.
I think this is less water ride and more family coaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is definitely a family coaster, and coaster number 7 again for Holiday World. So I think something like this would be a home run at Kings Island. I think it would be, something that again would have that broad appeal. And I think there would, you're going to always have that group that's disappointed if something's not 400 feet tall or it's not an RMC or something like that. But for the majority, I think they would love this.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, so we actually planned to build a mock water roller coaster back in 2016, where Good Gravy stands today. We had planned 2015 was going to be Thunderbird and 2016 was going to be the water coaster. And we just ultimately decided that was a lot packed together very quickly. And we wanted to take a little more time to get this ride right. So it kind of got shelved for many years. But when we started looking at this property, again, this special place in this park, and knowing that we wanted to have some sort of water element, this came back to the table quickly. It was a favorite model of ours, obviously. And so when that came back on the table, we decided the timing was fine with writing. It was going to be a mock water roller coaster, and we were going to theme it to gravy boats.
Oh, really?
So it was going to be a hybrid of Good Gravy and Cannonball. But yeah, the Cannonball theme just specifically came here once we decided it was going in the 4th of July section. I feel like Mock has such a reputation for building quality attractions, and this water roller coaster model is just something that, again, we've kind of had our eye on for a while, because we know that our guests, obviously Splash and Safari is a hugely popular water park. They love being there, they love getting wet, and they love having water rides in the dry park as well. So it's just a great match for our guests.
So
the theming really does entertain me a ton. So the boats specifically, having the inner tube themes with the strawberry, the watermelon, the donut, the patriotic popsicle. I don't know. There was something about that just made me smile. And of course, our 2 pieces of decoration, Ron the Swan and Ron the Swan's Son. I just personally love those. They made us smile.
No.
Yeah, so our Tease campaign, if people weren't following along, took you through the town of Boulder Canyon, which is where Raging Rapids, the ride that stood here before, originally was located. So we decided that the town of Boulder Canyon no longer floods, is no longer a ghost town, it's a thriving community. And Mr. Craig is that neighbor in Boulder Canyon. He's the guy who's going to report things to the HOA on you. He's the guy he's a stickler for the rules. We love Mr. Craig. So throughout the Tease campaign, we found out that he's very serious about this Cannonball competition, and he was going for year number 7. Of course, we have 6 roller coasters going for 7. That was intended. But today in our video, we found out that he did not succeed this year, because we have a pack of 8, the Splash Pack, that has beat him. But yeah, this was a fun little element of the story that kind of came to be. We wanted these kids to be the heroes. We wanted the family, the group element to be the hero of the story. But we kind of fell in love with Mr. Craig along the way, and so he ended up becoming the star of our Tease campaign. But we had such a blast making it, and we found out after editing that we were going to have an 8-minute announcement video. We thought, well, I guess this is what we're doing, because we loved it.
Yeah, we were a little concerned this morning after watching. Mr. Craig doesn't look like he's ever tasted defeat before, and
You know, I think Mr. Craig is going to be okay. I think you might see a little bit more on his social media channels before it's all.
Don, let's take a pause to thank our Prestige members. I want to give a big shout out to Miss Mandy, 1983, Lil Mac, 21, Brian Hauser, 330T, Aaron Bort, Jacob Fix, Damon Barnes, Dakota Cole, Eric Grau, Gibson Hills, Dustin Jackson, Songstress Miku, Medic 302, Eastern Coaster, Guys and Girls, Justin Y, Mike Garrett, Galaxy B-Boy, Greggy Rocks, Kayla La, T. Cleveland, Tim Dwelly, Sun Fun Sarah, Ian Ross, and Connors Lionel Trains. Thank you guys so much for supporting Tower Topics at the highest level. That's the prestige level. If you want to be involved in Tower Topics, there's a link in the description. Members get early access to the videos, exclusive live streams, exclusive content. Some tiers you can get a free t-shirt, so hit that link if you're interested. It starts at just $2.99, and it's the best way to support your pals over here at Tower Topics. I'm Ryan. That's Don. This is Tower Topics.